Good morning, Rabbi Yosef. Welcome, welcome. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name again?
What? Brieger, Matke Brieger.
Matke Brieger from Lakewood, New Jersey. How are you?
I'm good.
Nice to meet you. What's Shalom Aleichem?
So good to see you. Either you, how's your memory doing?
It's fine. I remember that nobody stands here usually and like, whoa, what's going on? No, it's okay. It was the chesed. It's chesed.
Yes.
So, I want to show you something very interesting. Yesterday was Shavos Tamuz. Shavos Tamuz is a tougher day. I know for a fact that Yoshi was working the whole day. In touch with him back and forth on different things. I come here, we pushed off the shear to 9 o'clock. No, instead of 9 o'clock, 9:20. So I'm about to go. I realize I see the lights on in the office right underneath. So I took this video. Here we go.
Check. I think Yoshi is still here. Shalom Aleichem. I'm coming to see what are you doing here at 9:25 on a fast day.
What are you doing here?
The fast is over at 8:02. 8:02. The fast is over.
You're working?
We're finishing up. We have a 3D.
Did you eat yet?
I did not eat yet. I'm going to eat after we're done for sure.
That's for sure. Goodbye.
So I don't know what time he broke his fast, but it was not 9:23. 9:23, he was still in the office.
Did you take him dinner?
I ate. Ganz fine. What is this? Oh, this is the Hebrew things. Says Yossi Spots from Brooklyn, New York. I joined the Daf and Bava Basra Daf Kuf Tes Vav after listening to the interview with Ari Chaimowitz. I was really inspired. I told myself that night in the shower that if Mr. Shem come Bava Basra, I'll join the Daf. A few minutes, I said to myself, no, that's the Siyadta speaking. Start tomorrow, even if it's at the end of the Masechta. I said, okay, MS, tomorrow it is. Then I said, no, that's the Siyadta again. Start now, in the shower. No, I added it in. Tonight, right after the shower, it was 11:30 at night. I go out of the shower, turned on the shear, and haven't missed a day since. I also have a picture of myself that night in the bathroom doing the shear, but I'm not attaching it because I know you'll show it. I told my kids I'll be making a siyum around Hanukkah time. That's baruch when Bava Basra is over. And if I don't miss even one day, I'll take them to any restaurant in the city. So now every day my kids are hounding me to make sure that I did the daf. The feeling that brings is so awesome. On a side note, I think opening up MDY Proud is absolutely paramount for klal yisroel for one simple reason. Being that MDY is so diverse, the only thing they'll be able to teach our kids is torah smoisha. No chasidus or sheshiva or system will be able to teach an agenda, otherwise lose all the other families. It'll have to be purely Hashem's torah that they give over. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make something like this happen. Yossi Spots from Brooklyn, New York. Adam Peters from Ottawa, Canada, might cotton Daf Beis. Today, Tamuz is my wedding, 19th anniversary, however that, what's even more important, don't tell my wife, today is his wedding anniversary, but what's even more important, don't tell my wife, is that Bava Basra, Daf Chof Aleph, dealing with opening up a competing business, is the first sugi of Gemara I ever learned over 20 years ago. That one sugya started me on a journey that led to tshuva, marriage, and 9 children, Baruch Hashem. You have no idea the joy I felt learning it again this morning. It was like all the bracha I've received since then came rushing back all at once. Learning didn't change my life. It gave me life. Wow. Learning didn't change my life. It gave me life. Starting tomorrow, after my anniversary, of course, I'll begin to recruit others to the daf, especially, that's the Eitzar. That's right. Especially those, look, this was over a week ago. I'm starting to go back because I have emails from, I'm calling them mails because in Hebrew it's mails. They say, no, not email. What's the email? Mail. Okay, mail. So now I have to go back. Anyway, so I still have stuff from Italy. This is Italy, so I'm trying to catch up a little bit. So this is from over a week ago. Beginning to recruit others to the daf, especially those who never learned that perhaps stopped learning. We all know what learning has done for us, so we have an obligation to spread the word. Says Adam Peters, Ottawa, Canada, Boisai. Over 300 people joined the Hebrew share yesterday. and over 270 for the English year. These are new numbers. It's a new chiddush that we're pushing for beginning of Prakim. You don't have to start in a new Masechta since it's a very long Masechta. It's unbelievable. Betty, you have an update? It's more than 300. It's Givaldik. Unbelievable. So Be'ezer Hashem, they stick around.
MDY started in the middle of a parak.
Correct. MDY started in the middle of a parak, and we don't have to, everybody knows what parak, what daf. I want to tell you about my husband, who accepted upon himself to learn the Daf Yomi in the previous Masechta every day. It was as if, I'm just translating from Hebrew, as if this is the last time he's going to machzik mamad, that he'll be able to take this, hold up. It was very difficult for him. He used to push it off to the evenings, to the late at night, and then as his eyes are closing, he would lay down on the couch with his feet up, and he'd learn the daf. And of course, it was very difficult for him to understand when you're so tired, and it put him to sleep. 2 weeks ago, he discovered Yoshirim. And then, since then, it's the first thing that he does in the evening. He sits down with his slivus on the computer, tremendous smile. His back is straight up, and he learns with a lot of fun. The difference is tremendous. And the whole torah that he's learning is with cheshek and understanding and sipuk, accomplishment. And I feel that it's mashpia on our shalom bayis and the tremendous connection he has to Torah. Thank you very much.
No jokes in the emails, the Israelis. No jokes.
Good. We'll see. They'll get there. We're starting to have that now. It's like almost like 50% Hebrew English emails. It's crazy.
It's okay during the share. It's all jokes.
This is a joke. This is not a joke. This is serious. This is from Mati Kos. We know that he says that the daf has not changed his life. You tell me if it's changed his life. Shulim. I definitely have a couple of hours a week to volunteer, and I'd love to donate them to MDY. I'm crafty with all things computer. What can I help with? My captain. He's asking Yoshi. Abigazint, Gin Shabbos, Matis. P.S. I don't think you remember me from your trip to Manchester, but an off chance that I can refresh your memory. Here's a pic with Mark, my son, and myself. I sure do remember him. Yishkoyach, it's beautiful that people are volunteering time. Maybe we'll take, usually I take those emails and put them aside. Maybe Yoshi will actually use it. Here at Boyside is where you can find us on different platforms, many different platforms, even Spotify, Pocket Cast, I never even heard, Podchaser, Apple, Anchor, Twitter, Torah Zoom. Torah Zoom, we have over 500-600 views. How many?
I have to check. I'm going to get you some numbers.
More like 500. Last time was 500. On Torah Zoom, that's the Sephardish, the Spanish-speaking thing. On Zoom, regular Zoom. Yesterday in the Hebrew, we had about 120 people online. And the Beis Medrash was packed. Motzi, you were here. Was it packed? Unbelievable. This is one last one. This is an Avrech. Learns in Koilel. A Chassid, a Belzer Chassid from Haifa. Yes, in Haifa also there's Avrechim that watch Yeshir. And then he says, I was misragish, nidhamti, da-da-da-da. But I think you should meet the Belzer Rav. He'll love meeting you, type of people like you he loves to meet. And of course he'll have a beautiful picture to show tomorrow at the shir. And then about your yeshiva you want to open. I think it's the tremendous, very great idea. Especially they'll start off every day with it's mamish yumoisa mashiach. Kvi yisitim la Torah every day is a choik velo yavar. I don't know what this is, Yosef, but whatever it is, it's beautiful. It looks very colorful. Yeah. I don't see that. Oh, you mean Daf 2. Maybe you should say Beis, Gimel, like more like Leil Shishi in the Hebrew shir, and everybody's invited. We're going to Neria. Neria, I don't know, it's about an hour away. Near Kiryat Sefer. So everybody's invited, 9 o'clock, it'll be chon, it'll be gishmak stuff. Tell your Israeli friends. Rabbi Sai, we are holding Daf Chavtes. We have to do the sponsors of the Masechta. Oh, there is one thing I want to show the Olam. Did I put it in here? Oh, don't tell me I didn't put it in. Hold on. Ay. Okay. Rabbi Wolf, I'll just say Balpeh. They're doing a, I usually, I don't push things, but the OlamHaTorah is in financial disaster because the Israeli government is cutting their thing. So today where's the place we did a big siyum? Bellworks. in New Jersey. They're doing they're starting this Rayze.it. They need to raise $23 million. They raised 100, I think. It gets to something crazy. They raised 85. They have to give to 100, and I got a call from. There was whatever. They wanted to speak to me yesterday. I spoke to some very chosh of a person yesterday, but I told them I'm in the middle of preparing shir, and I told them that I'll speak to them at 11:15 at night. 11:15, I was meeting with Noam and some guys, and I didn't get the call, and I feel bad. I think they wanted to speak to me about this, and they probably wanted to ask me to push this. There's a Rayze.it. I never speak about these kind of things, but we'll make an exception for the whole OlamHaTorah. I forgot what it's called. It's Rayze.it. I put a video. I thought I attached the video here. I don't see it. Maybe I'm missing. Okay, it's just no, I don't see it. Okay, it's tonight, April 1st in Bell Works. Rayze.it something Karen HaTorah, something like that. Ayin Sham. Maybe
April 1st.
did I say April? What day is it today?
It's July 24th.
I don't know what's going on. Okay, I thought it's tonight. Maybe it's not. You know what, Yosef, if you don't mind, just throw in the picture, or whatever. I'll send it to you. Okay. Did we do all the? We didn't do the sponsors? No. We're somewhere in the middle. The Masech sponsors with the safe and speedy return of all the Hassatters. Paras HaChodesh Ahron Fraiman l'schus the rebellion for continuing siyadta dishmaya and teaching torah to klal yisroel. Paras HaChodesh l'fur shleima neftali Harris ben Hanyalei a hidden tzaddik in our generation. Paras HaChodesh li nishma Zechraya ben Moshe li nishma Zechraya bas Yosef. Paras HaShavua Michael Benchetrit in the commemoration of the yartzeit Rabbi Yosef Oziel of Miami community who passed away on the 13th of Tamuz at the young age of 42. Paras HaYom Michelle Burstein, in honor of Eytan Burstein's 40th birthday. Ad Me'ev Esrim, until 120, good health and success in MDY. Unbelievable. It always warms my heart when a wife realizes what's important to the husband. Michelle Burstein, Shkoyach. NJ and A Hassett, in honor of our dear son Ahron on his 12th birthday, steiging with MDY, proud parents. Happy birthday. Yosef Ezra, Lili Nishmat, Yeshua ben Shimon Dov, and Refu Shleima for Mordechai ben Yocheved Tema. Rabbi Yosef, we're in Daf Chof Tes. Shalom Aleichem to all the guys on Zoom. How many guys are on Zoom? 60 guys on Zoom. Beautiful. Shalom Aleichem. You know, whoever's on Zoom from America, that means that they're up at 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever time it is right now. There's a lot of guys. There's always, Eli Dykeman and Mark and there's the Kvuim. What's the guy from the hotel? Mendel and kids. There's a lot of guys. Zok the Gemara. Elo Amarova. We're 5 lines from the top. Chavtes Amud Aleph. We're discussing Cheskas Habatim. How do you perform a chazaka? You stay there for 3 years, approximately. Sometimes certain things are less than 3 years. 3 years. How do we know it? How do you know this concept of 3 years? What does it say in the Torah? Yesterday we tried to learn it from Shar Hamud. Shar Muad gores 3 times, changes from a tam to a muad. So too, after 3 years, changes from that bailos to your bailos. You have proof that you're the owner. The Gemara says that doesn't really work according to Rabbanan. That only works according to Rabbi Shmuel. What's the source? What is the source of Cheskas Habatim of 3 years? Elo Marava. We're not there yet. This is another try. Shataka Maisa Mochelinish. You're not going to like this so much. We're not so familiar with this. First year, guys in your property, you're Mochelim. Tarti, Mochel. Second year, okay, nu, Mochel. Last, Loi, Mochel. Third year, you're not Mochel. One of the guys in the kollel, he got an extra $1,000 on his paycheck. He didn't say anything to the kollel. The following month, the kollel realized he took off $1,000. So the guy goes running to the kollel. What are you doing? Why are you taking off $1,000? He says, what do you mean? Last month he didn't say anything. Why did you come now? He says, one time, I'll be moichel you. But 2 mistakes? That's really too much. So if there's a real mechila, I'm moichel you for 2 years. You're in my property. If you use the word moichel, it's a very strong word. What does moichel mean? I'm not going to sue you. You can have it. I'm moichel. So what happens to the rent? You were in the property for 2 years. What are you sitting there rent free? Yes. You're Michael. What does Michael mean? Rent free, stay. Gesundheit hate. After 3 years, get out of here. But that's not halacha. Allah Omer Rav Nachman Hodra Arab Hadri Perev. Rav Nachman says no. If the original owner, we'll call the original owner the Marakama, the original owner. Shkoyach, I like that. It's not bad. No, I'd like to see here. Turn it around so I can see myself. What is that? You doing chazar now? What are you doing exactly? Givaldi. The islands come with their own screens. Givaldic stuff. So, the first guy that used to live there, everybody knows that he lived there, Marakama. Second guy is the Machzik. So, if the Marakama comes along and says, hey, what are you doing in my field? What are you doing in my house? The guy says, I have a chazaka, I'm here for 2 years. And the guy says, okay, produce a shtar. Show me that you bought it from me. I'm here for 2 years, I bought it from you. So produce a shtar. I don't have a shtar. So get lost. So for those 2 years, he admits he was here for 2 years, he doesn't have a shtar, he has to pay for rent. Rabbi Nachman says, Hodra Ara, you give back the house, you give back the field, V'hadra Peirim, and you give back all the produce. But the question is, hold on a second, I'm not done with my sentence. The question is, what happened to the Mechila? The guy was Michael. If the guy is Michael, then he doesn't have to pay for rent. Why should he have to pay for rent? Now, in the Yaten Eman, a good few years ago, there's a whole article about Rashi. The Rashi, it was 900 years to his Ptira. I think right now it's already 919 already. 900 years to his Ptira. They made a whole thing about Rashi and said he lived here and he's nifter there. So people wrote in, Rashi wasn't nifter in France. Rashi was nifter in Bava Basra Daf Chavtes. And you look over here, it says Ad Kam Pirush Rashi Zechat Gevracha. There's a base. You go into the Hagoyis V'Tzionim and there's a Girsif Kan Meis Rashi. This is where Rashi was nifter, right over here in this daf. In the Shiri Knesset Agdoila, he brings that there are people, I'm not making this up, there are people that don't learn Bava Basra because this is where Rashi gets sick and he was nifter. So people, and I heard of people that don't learn the whole Shas because of that.
But his grandson took over, so it's like he's still.
Oh, exactly. That's where I'm getting to. Who took over? Mikam ve'elach Pirush Rabbeinu Shmuel ben Reb Meir. This is the Rashbam. This is the grandson of Rashi. Who were his brothers? He had 2 other brothers, the Rivam and Rabbeinu Tam. He's the older brother, 20 years older than Rabbeinu Tam, and he actually learned with Rashi. He was Rashi's chaver, he learned with him. I just found it, to me, it's fascinating. This explains Cheskas Sabatim in a bit. Look at the last Rashi. Allah Ma'amar Rav Nachman, L'kamam b'shmaitin, 2 words. Take the same exact Rashi and put it in the Rashbam. Allah Ma'amar Rav Nachman, the Rashbam, here, starts in the same words. L'kamam b'shmaitin. And then he goes on, it's 5 lines more. And that explains why Cheskas Sabatim has tiny page, tiny amudim. A lot of Rashbam. Rashbam is a completely different styles, we'll see. He gives a lot of pirushim, he tells you all the machlokes, and Rashi almost never brings another shita. He brings all the shitas. This one says this, no, nearly kach, and I think it's like this, it's better like that. So it's a lot of arichas, explains what's going on here in Cheskas, from here on out, to the end of the Masechta. Similar to Nadarim. Nadarim also, we had the Ran, a lot of arichas, that's why the Dapim and Nadarim are very small, probably even smaller. So the Sridei says what Reb Nachman said is that Rashi loy meis, he never died. Rashi is alive and well. We're reading his Torah every day. So he was never nifter, in a way, loy meis. But his Torah was never nifter. Elo Marav. So we have to revise the first prat. It's the same idea. The first lashon was very strong. First year, Yemoichel. Second year, Yemoichel. Asabai. What do you mean Yemoichel? So you don't have to pay rent? You do have to pay rent. Okay, you do have to pay rent, but I'll change the word from Mechila. I'll change it to something else. Elamarova. Shadakamai. So they kapidinish. He's not makbid. Not that he's Moichel. He's just not making a macha. You have to pay up. You're gonna have to pay. But I didn't protest. I didn't say get out. Tarti lo kapid after the second year not. Clause after 3 years. And this is just the Havamina until we get to the real pshat. Okay, good. So you have to pay rent. He wasn't moichel. He just wasn't makbid. He didn't say anything, but you have to pay. There are people, tough guys. Their name is Bar Yoshiv. The kapti afilu the cholif mitzvah they do. I don't know about the rest of the world. I know there's a lot of people in America like this. If you go out, to the farmland, you go over there. If you step on somebody's property, you might get shot. Yeah, there's people. It's big signs here. We even have a little bit of a. Check this out, Rabbi Yosef. You know these properties? No trespassing. Keep out. The guy's busy on his video screens, watching who's coming in. There's a tank in the front, a shotgun. And this guy is very busy learning Torah, staggering away on this. He has a chai. I don't know if you noticed. He has a chai necklace. Kids, one of these guys. We don't know about this stuff. Over here, people live in your house. People open up the door. They don't even knock. They just walk in. Shalom Aleichem. They take the milk out. They go. Over there, I'm serious. In Tennessee, try to step on somebody's property. Just pull into his driveway. See what happens. So the what about Bar Yasha? Very kapdonim. You're telling me normal people. I don't know people like this. At the time of the Gemara, they had a lot of patience. Also, if you think about it, what was a house? I don't know what material it was made out of mud, and it had a little bit of a leaky roof. It certainly didn't have air conditioning. It didn't have plumbing. It didn't have a bathroom or a kitchen. So what did it have? It had like straw on the floor so you could sleep on. This is your house. It usually was 8 feet by 8 feet. Okay, so the guy stayed there for a few weeks, few years, 2 years. I'm saying it's interesting. Not makbid. I don't know what not makbid means. Okay, but if you're a captain, you're a istinus about your property, chutzpah, you walk into my property without asking me, stay there for 2 years, you move your family in there. So Bar Yosef, get out of here. So a guy like that, he should make it chazaka immediately. 1 day, 1 minute. If it has to do with kpeda, so what should be the obvious question here? Like plug. Right, to go basaruba in the yodam. That should be the obvious question. The Rashi doesn't have an answer to it. He says, okay, tzarchiyut. But the Gemara kind of talks about it. And if you say yes, okay, you're right. Bar Yosef, the chazak is after 1 minute. Sort of the question, but not really. Once Chacham make a takana, they make a takana. But no, the Gemara is saying, if so, each person you have to ask him. You're a half a captain, so for you it's 1.5 years. You're a serious captain, it's 1 minute. You're a regular person, it's 3 years. Okay, so then every person has a different shir. It's impossible. Elo Marava, and this is the final shot, and this is what we're sticking with for the rest of Shas. Shataka Maisa Mizdair Inish B'Shtari. First year, a person, after he purchases a piece of property, he's careful with the shtar. Tarti utlas. The second and third year, mizdair, he'll be careful. Tfei loy mizdair. A person is not careful with the shtar after 3 years. And therefore what? Therefore, he has a chazaka. But we need to understand, how does this work? How did he make a kinyan? What happened? Okay, he's not careful with the shtar. And because he's not careful with the shtar, that's why it becomes his. How does it become his? So he says he bought it. But how? What? How did it become? He says, I say also, I bought your house. That makes it mine. If I say, Rebbe Akiva, I bought your house, not Rebbe Akiva, Rebbe Akiva, I bought your house. I said it. So it becomes mine. Oh, and by the way, I don't keep my shtar for more than 3 years, so shalom, it's mine, get out. So the Ramban, the Rishonim, different explanations. This, if you're in yeshiva, this is at least a week. Sugya, different Rishonim, the Tzois over here sticks in. So the basic pshat is that the Ramban says, when I come into your house for 1 minute, then I show that it's my house. Why didn't you jump? Why didn't you go crazy, kick me out of the house? Elamai, and I'm sticking in the Tzai sticks in this word of Rayze.it. Elamai, the owner, the Marakama, he could say, produce a shtar. And when he says produce it, he says those words, he could weaken your taina. You're saying, listen, I was here. You should have said something immediately on day one. You should have said something. I don't know a single person in this room that would see somebody in his house, in his dining room, that he doesn't recognize, just sitting there drinking coffee. You wouldn't say something? Hey, what are you doing in my house? How do you let a guy sit there for 3 years? Elamai.
Properties, like you don't know about.
Okay, but if I hear, fine, I hear,
like you.
There's reglaim l'dover.
Properties.
That's okay.
No one knows what's going on.
We're talking about, but in terms of the taina, you saw me. Within 3 years, you should have noticed me. Yeah, 3 years. It's a long time. So reglaim l'dover, say the Rishonim, says the Ramban. Reglaim l'dover. It's obvious that since nobody said anything, it's yours. Elamai, the owner could say, produce a shtar, and that weakens your reglaim l'dover. Once 3 years go by, see what's going on here? Once 3 years go by and you're quiet, then you cannot make a reyusa. You can't weaken his original taina of, I'm here and I have reglaim l'dover. So if I ask you a question, how was he kind of this house? With the reglaim l'dover, with making a chazak on day one. It's not sitting there for 3 years and that makes it his. The sitting there for 3 years takes away the ability to say, produce a shtar. And that's what the Gemara is saying. A person is looking for a shtar for 1 year, he keeps it. 2 years, 3 years, he doesn't keep the shtar. So maybe you can't come to me and say, hey, where's your shtar? If you can't come to me and say, where's your shtar? Then I was kind of on day one when I stepped in there and you didn't say anything. That's the kinyan. Zog the Gemara. We said this. Sorry. If chazaka is based on how much time I have to keep my shtar, it's very important for me to keep my shtar for 3 years. The idea that I could protest. And we said yesterday that I don't have to protest in front of the machzik, I could protest to my friends. But it shouldn't work. Why? If you made a macha, if you protested in front of my face, then I would have been more careful. So what's the answer? Like we said yesterday, a friend has a friend. And your friend of the friend has another friend. In other words, if here, we'll just show this again, why not? Oops. I pushed it. Okay. That's his house. Yoshi sees his house. Amoicha. And he puts up a sign in the mikveh. And then a guy that's not supposed to have a smartphone has one. WhatsApps. And then you have Chaver the Chavro. Chaver the Chavro Chavrisly. Which is MS, that today with WhatsApp and these kind of things, we understand what Chaver the Chaver means. In seconds, hundreds of thousands of people will find out about it. Especially if he's not your friend. And if he was your friend, he's not your friend anymore. And therefore, this mecha, I made a protest that Pliny is in my house. You write on a WhatsApp, you heard what happened? And this happens all the time, I'm assuming. Well, I hope not. Imagine a typical American guy, has a nice apartment in a beautiful building in Schneller in Yerushalayim. How many days a year does he use this apartment? He uses it 14 days a year. He comes for Pesach, 3 days before, 3 days after, and he's gone. His neighbor across knows exactly his schedule. This has been happening for 5 years. Every Pesach he shows up with his maid, with his gabayim, shows up 3 days before with all the meat from America, and he leaves right after. Shavuos he usually doesn't come. Once in a blue moon he comes in Shavuos. Sukkot for sure. Oh, big thing, Sukkot. This neighbor is a chaverman. He has the key already. He goes in there. He opens the door, sets up shop. 4 days before Pesach, he's already out. Nice sponger, everything's masudar. Once in a while he has to paint the wall. Beautiful, clean. How's the guy gonna know? There's no shaykhs. And this is the problem. This is exactly what we're talking about. We're gonna have this case on Amud Beis. So the guy says, you're not gonna believe it. He goes on WhatsApp, he's not gonna believe it. I show up to my apartment in Yerushalayim. My verstungene neighbor, he's sitting in the apartment. I came a week earlier, he didn't chap. He's sitting there with his ganze mishpacha. And then the whole world knows about it. Everybody knows about it. So it's a macha. Omer Avuna. Now, new sugya. These 3 years, it goes like this, Rabbi Yosef. I must be there for 3 years straight. What if I was there for 1 year and took a break for a whole year? I let the land sit, and it's very good for the land to rebuild the nutrients. You don't want to take all the nutrients out of the land, the year after year after year. It's not good. So you know what? I purchased this land, or I took the land, whatever I did. 1 year yes, and then 1 year not. Says Ravuna, it has to be Ritzufos. So, the famous Chavetz Chaim, Chazon Ish also says the Mamish, the same mashal, that a person can take a kettle of water, put it on the fire for 2 minutes. Right before it boils, he takes it off and waits 5 minutes, puts it back on the thing. And this is what he does over and over and over and over and over. He'll do it a whole day. He never had boiled water. This is the idea of Ritzufos, that when you learn Torah, it should be consecutive. You do a full hour, no emails in middle, no WhatsApps, no, just to be concentrated. Another idea of Ritzufos, I think, is Daf Yomi, the Ritzufos of days. You do day after day after day, and that is we see it's a very, very powerful thing that you're doing every single day. Even on Shavas B'Tamuz, you're learning every day. But I want to show you, this is a beautiful thing that the Chazon Ish says in Igeres Gimel. I just highlighted the red if you want to see. It's a beautiful thing. He says, Ikar alimud, I'll go back. Ikar alimud hu atmidi v'abilti nifsak. The main thing of learning is the constant and that which you don't stop. Belimud atmidi hu soid ha'kedusha. Soid ha'kedusha. There's a certain kedusha when you learn without breaks. V'zeh she'oiseh terasa kroim. And when you learn with breaks, osaf ruach, you collected wind. And he says there's a story over here from some Talmid Chachamim today in Bnei Brak. They said the Chazon Ish caught them. They were supposed to be learning Chavrus, so they were shmoozing. So Chazon Ish gave him a little bit of a shmooze, and he said, how beautiful, so sweet is the Torah. And you get to the point of Mesikus HaTorah when you learn 3 or 4 hours b'ritzifos. There's a certain special thing that the Torah gives you after learning for 3 or 4 hours straight without a break. And without that kind of learning, you can't even imagine that ruchnis of learning for 3-4 hours straight, and certainly 5 hours. And then they said that the Chazon Ish started getting animated, and he said 6 hours of learning. I don't know how a person does 6 hours. I tried it once. It was like almost impossible. Your brain wants to explode. After 6 hours, a person forgets everything in this world, and you cling to ruchnius. And then he said after 7 hours, the person feels such a closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he has 0 hanas from this world, and he fills up with simcha. And after 8 hours, he has 0 taivas and chumrius, and his complete thing is mishtoikis lelika. And after 9 hours, he becomes kadosh lamala. And after 10 hours, ayin le'rasa in letire. No, I'm saying if a person really wants, he says, okay, today is the day, I'm going to go 8 hours straight. Let me try to get to that ruchnis. I mean, it's doable. A person could.
It's just always just fall asleep.
Chazon Ish was very, very sick. He was very right. He was very sick and very weak, and he used to actually learn in the laying position a lot. So the fact that he fell asleep, I don't know how many hours. It says, I remember reading a long time ago in Peradar that Chazon Ish used to do 6 hours when he was a bacher. 6 and 6. It's back then I was in Passaic when I read it and I tried to do it. I tried. It's so hard. You get to hour 4 and it's just the brain. It's like explosions. So sit there and try it. Anyways, but no. When I'm reading it and I think to myself, I have to be more careful, not to maybe just shut that phone off and let everybody. Yoshi and the art, okay, for 3 hours there won't be, just like put these blocks in where nobody, no phone calls, no emails, no nothing. Just it's hard, but it's doable. Zok Gemara, Michael Mashmo. So what's the chiddush over here?
When you added a few extra shares to your day.
Yeah, well, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff. One thing that's not going on is business. I don't know what's going on with that. But this is the shul and the yeshiva and the this and this year and that year and there's a lot of guys. Michael Mashma, Tanina, I don't understand what the chiddush here. It says mefurish in the Mishnah. It says it even stronger. The chazak is day after day after day. It's ritzufos. Here you see ritzufos is Daf Yomi. I didn't even chap that. It's not the hours. It's the day after day. I would think that day after day just means that you have to have a full year. But the years could be like in the chart over here. As long as you have a full year, 365, then you can take a break of 365 and then do again another 365. Kamash Malon, that you need a full year, 365, but you need year after year after year. The years also have to be ritzufos. In a place where people, they take a year break from the field. So then the chazaka would look like this, Rabbi Yosef. 1 year you work, 1 year it's off. 1 year yes, 1 year not. So how many years is the chazaka? The Torah says 5, but he argues on Rishonim. Because the Ramban, I think it's the Ramban I saw today, says it's 6. You actually have to add another fallow year. Interesting. No. After I would say. After.
After you're not there. So
Yeah, before you're not there. You work 1 year, you take off a year, you work 1 year, take off a year. Okay. But this is based on the Torah. Lo tzricha pshita. What's the chiddush? So you're going to need at least 5 years, 6 years, pshita. It says the Gemara, not everybody does this. Some people do consecutive years, 3 straight. By Gavra Moivra. This Machzik, the new guy, he's a guy that takes a break. Mao the same Omalei, the Morakama, the original owner will say, if it's Taka yours, which is a very interesting taina. If you are really doing a kinyan chazaka, you should have been more careful. You should have been machmer and just do consecutive and be kaina. What are you taking breaks here? So what's he going to answer? What do you mean, why am I taking breaks? I believe it's better for the field. That's why I'm taking a break. What, you're going to tell me how to do it? Everybody else, all my neighbors do that. So I'm also doing it, and I believe that they're right. I have a Kabbalah from my forefather, farmer after farmer after farmer. It's not good for the field. So it says the Gemara, first of all, here, let's say everything is fallow all around me, and I decide to plant like you decided I should plant like this. Look at this. I'm going to have to hire all the security. If everybody plants around me, so this guy gets a shleima, this guy gets, okay, so we figure it out together, we're mishtatev. Over here I have to take care of all the security myself. So I don't want to. I want to be like everybody else. Binami, what do you mean you should plant? I don't want to plant this year. It's not good because I don't want to deplete my property from nutrients. Okay. Question. It says in the Mishnah that you do chazaka on a house. How is it possible to do what Rav Huna said, to have 3 years rotzuf? I can't get proof for the night. Who's going to testify that I use the property at night? Okay, during the daytime, great, but who's there at night? At night, nobody knows. And therefore what? Therefore, let's say you can't do a chazak at night. So how long will it take to do chazak, Rabbi Yosef? 6 years. 6 years. Because I need 24 hours a day, and I can't do 24 hours a day. I can only do 12 hours a day. So too bad. It's going to take you 6 years to get to the amount of hours that you need. Who testifies in the house? Shibivei, the neighbors, like in Bnei Brak, yeah, we'll say it for the new guys. A guy was making a coffee, screams barrel from the other building. What are you doing? You're fleishiks, you ate schnitzel. Says Chatzkel, you didn't eat schnitzel. It was part of a schnitzel. So he says, no, you idiot. I'm not talking about the schnitzel you took. I'm talking about the schnitzel he stole from his son's plate. So Yankel screams out, yeah, but the milk that he just poured into the coffee is not even milk. It's soy milk. Kids, those are good neighbors. So you have neighbors like that. And they're Shivavei made the Yadi Bimami B'Leilio. And here's a neighbor. Here it goes, what is this? Oh, this is it?
חיילי שלי, לא כוגדלו, Rattevet, the Matam in Yisroel, das
I didn't see this. I hope it's not too long.
das, was genommen, was Bechasser gewinnt, was alle Unionen, was sie gibt, beim Weitergeben, und
This is the whole video.
mit alle gute Sachen, Tom Sloche, Tom Nachas, Tom gesund, Mischust, das, was Tom, der Mann, Tere Bam Yisrael. אחינו בית ישראל, הצילו, תתנו, השם ישלח לכם כל טוב.
Rayze.it / OlamHaTorah. Givaldik. Okay. Let's go back to the sugi we have to finish. Uniting to raise. Here we go. I don't know. Put this in. Somebody just put it in. Shkoyach. Okay. Shkoyach Kobe. Here we're holding by this sugya. So we're saying that here there's two neighbors. These are the neighbors, Givaldik, and then this. Oh, lights go out, and he goes in his car and he drives away. So he could testify. The neighbor sees everything. The neighbors know what's going on. So I had a Maisa. I didn't say this in the Shir. Yes, I said in the Hebrew one, I think. But I told you this Maisa before. When I used to tour my properties, one of the things I did was I would ask the manager of the property to show me vacant apartments. Why? Because I found out the hard way that they'll tell you that you have your vacancy is very high. You have 20 apartments that are not rented. Okay, so what are you going to do about it? Nothing. But they go, if they're not very straight, they go and they rent those apartments to their own people. How are you going to know? They tell you there's 20 vacant, that's why you're not getting the rent in. And they go and they rent it for less. So they tell the guy, you can give me cash and you can live here. So when I chapped that, I said, okay, I want to see 10 vacant apartments. Show me this. I tell them, this is the list of the vacants. Great. I want to see A15. I want to see this building, that building. So we go, she takes me to one of the buildings. We walk into the apartment, schmoozing with her. All of a sudden, a big dude comes running at me at full speed. I move to the side. He opens up the front door and bolts out of there. Whoa, what just happened? And I chapped that he was sleeping in the apartment. He squatted in the apartment. I'm catching my breath. It's like, it's like a shock. You're in it's very quiet, everything. You just walk in, look at it, and also, a second later, a few seconds later, the door opens up again. He's back, and he's running this way, right at me that way. And then he runs out, and in his hand he has an ankle bracelet. He took off his ankle bracelet he's a criminal. He's wearing this ankle bracelet. So he's able to sneak it off his ankle and put it on the shelf. And when he ran out, he thought, wait a minute, I don't have my ankle bracelet. So he ran back, he grabbed his ankle bracelet. Anyway, telling you this, why? Rav Omar, Amri, two people came. I have a pshat, he says. There's two other people. What happened was, the machzik guy, he didn't even live there. He's a chaverman. He goes around doing chazakas on different people's houses. He can't sleep in all the people's houses, so he rents them out to other people. It might not even be his, but you have two Eidim that testified, like my manager who did this to me. She rented out some of my parts to her people, not to me. Two people testify. We rented it from the machzik, the guy that's trying to do a chazaka. He was the renter. He rented it to us. And we lived there for 3 years straight, and nobody ever knocked on the door to tell us to leave. In other words, we're testifying that he's the real owner. The machzik is the real owner. How can they testify like that? If they didn't say that, if they didn't testify like that, so the guy would say, pay me rent. You were there for 3 years. I'm the Morakama, I'm the original owner, pay me rent. So they're lying to cover themselves so they don't have to pay rent again. They could probably get it from the Ganav, but it'll be a big problem. You're talking about the Yanim that don't know halachas. They'll listen to Mila Askina. We're talking about a regular, typical situation of rent. We learned it a number of times. Schirus eino mishtalemes ela basoif. When do you pay rent? You pay rent at the end, not in the beginning. So, Mila Yaskinku and the Nikiti Agar Beso, Vamri Laman Leisve. They have a suitcase full of cash, and they say, I'll give it to the Marakama, I'll give it to the Machzik. Who should I give it to? We are testifying that nobody knocked on the door for 3 years, and therefore we should probably give it to the Machzik, not to the Marakama. Omar Mazutro, Vitoyin Vomar, Leisu Tresahadi, Lasudele, the door bait lash maybe a Momo Belel. If the Marakama, the original owner, says, produce witnesses, typically, listen to this. Typically, when you say you had a chazaka, I was here for 3 years. But if you're smart, you went to Daf Yomi, you could get him good. You say, yeah, you were here for 3 years? Prove me that you were here at night. She says, oh, I have neighbors. Okay, bring the neighbors. What neighbor is going to come to court and testify he's there for 3 years? You can get him good if you know the halachas. And also, the best way is to do it on day 363 on the 3rd year. Then he has to start all over his chazaka 3 years. You know what I'm saying? You get him good. You know the halachas. Then, if he tainas it and he says, I want testimony on the night, then you have to listen to him. Daf Choftes Amud Beis, sponsored. Are we a month in? Turning of the Daf, sponsored by LifeShare.community, protecting families today before tomorrow's unexpected loss. Hatzola. We need Hatzola. The Chuf. Okay.
Should have called 1221.
He doesn't have a non-kosher phone. He doesn't have a phone. Okay, whoever needs a refuah shleima should have refuah shleima. Daf Chavtes Amud Beis. I did. Wow. Okay, so the Reichlin hamachzirim ba'yaros. A person, we learned about this guy who sells perfume to women. He has to go from city to city. He's that American guy that only shows up who knows when. People know when he shows up. This is the Rashbam saying. We know when he shows up. So I leave the premises when nobody's there. When he comes back. What happened?
Dave's that Tzala guy up there.
Dave, you didn't leave? The guy, Sakonis the Fashas.
Like the cost of torah is going to save him, Dave.
Wow. That is dedication. Seriously. He was here last night. He's here this morning. The guy's dying. I'm right here. Rabbi Yosef Torah comes first. Wow. Okay. If they need you, you'll go. So, listen, this guy's a Nebuch. This American guy is clueless. He shows up to Yerushalayim. He doesn't know that somebody stayed in his apartment without him knowing. So we, the Bezdin, tell the Machzik, hey, produce witnesses. We make his life miserable. Produce witnesses that you were here at night also. You have anybody that saw you here at night? Another halacha. The stores, the mechayza that sell wine and bread, the maid, when do you sell stuff? During the day. So Dr. Rashbam, he's masber beautifully. When I went with my family to Kenya, well, we didn't stay in Kenya. We had a stopover in Kenya in the airport, so we wanted something to drink. It's a third world country airport. So we look for the store, it's closed. And as I'm looking, I notice something in the corner of my eye. So I look over the counter and I see 6 people sleeping on the floor. And we took seats over there. We're waiting for them to open the store. We needed to drink something. All of a sudden, like 6 o'clock, it was like, 5:30, 6 o'clock to get up. And they all dashed to the bathroom, public bathroom. And I'm watching them. They're brushing their teeth. They're washing their hair in the sink. They live in the airport. They live on the floor of the store, of the convenience store. They all huddled up together, 6 people like that. And says the Rashbam, that's what they would do in these stores. There's a minhag not to do it. It's very common not to sleep in the store. You have your own house. But it's not so hard to understand that somebody would be in the store. Memela what? Since there's a regilus not to sleep in the store, so Memela I have to do a chazaka for how many years, Reb Nachman? 6 years. Because this is a 12-hour a day thing, not a 24-hour. Yeah, there's some people that do. That's the chiddush here. That even though it's a store that some people do sleep on the floor, I need 6 years. How do I know 6 years? Taisa says, and not the Hainu Shei Sharim says Taisa at the end of Moed Rav Huna. 4 lines before the bottom. Don't think for a second that I'm not rattled up from this guy running in and his face was white like a ghost, and but we got to move on. I'm sorry, it's Daf Yomi. I want to tell you also another thing. I'm asking the Olam to do me a personal favor. It's already, I live here for 10 years, and part of the deal with my wife was that we're only going to move for 1 year, and that for Pesach we'll go back to America, and for the summer we'll go back to America, and we kept our house. That's so every year Pesach, besides COVID, come. I give a shiur, and when I'm not here, the Olam gets weak, especially the guys that come to this actual shiur. They're used to me, and they don't want to watch a screen. Last time I came back, yes, it was a little extended, a little bit more than normal. Came back, 10 people gone, never came back. So I'm asking the Olam, I want to tell you that my wife right now is on the way to the airport. She's leaving right now. And I had tickets to go with her right now. And I have a bar mitzvah. My nephew's bar mitzvah is in Chicago tomorrow, whatever. And I took one for the team. I said, I'm going to cancel my tickets. I'm going to stay an extra week so that we don't lose people, so that it's a little bit... There's a sacrifice. I know that you think it's all fun and games. I'm going to Chicago and I'm going to be in LA and I'm going to do this and it's going to be mamish fun. And I have to take my wife somewhere. It's our 30th anniversary. So I have to figure out where I'm going to take her. I have to take her something special. I don't have a place yet. If anybody has good ideas. But it's going to be so much fun. Imagine being in this place. Where? Kenya. We'll go to Kenya. We'll go on a safari.
He's saying Kenya and he's saying Kenya.
The bottom line is, I'm just asking the Olam. There's a sacrifice on my part a little bit, just a little bit. So make a big sacrifice on your part and continue coming. Don't drop out of this year. We'll be back after Ben Zmanim. Zog the Gemara. Rami Bar Chama. It's a week. I'm just warning you now. We'll try to bring breakfast. What? Because this chazak is only available for 12 hours out of the day.
The derech of this place is only day and not night.
I hear. You're saying it's like no. So that's why there's no. But that's why there's exactly. But that's exactly what I explained. That there are many people that sleep in the store, like in Kenya. That's what the Rashbam says. There are many people, but you could be the Isnam. It goes both ways because it's possible, but it goes both ways. That's exactly that's the whole thing. It's not a Beis Habad, a Beis Habal. That's only one time a year, 100% across the board. People like this, people like that. There's two brothers. Now, does anybody remember who Rami Bar Chama is? I hope you remember. Who is Rami Bar Chama? Reb Nachum. Very good, very good. That's right. Rav Chizda's daughter here is the sugya in Kihod the Bas Rav Chizda Rabbi Yosef Oziel. Rav Chizda's daughter was sitting on her father's lap. Rav Chizda, and Rav Chizda says, "Which one of these two talmidim do you want?" And she said, "I want both." And Rava says, "Bano Basra, let me be second." In other words, Rami Bar Chama should marry first and die. And actually, he held maybe they could get divorced. Rabbi Muhammad is the one that said he holds that you can't marry a divorced woman when the husband's alive. Over here's two brothers. These two brothers, Rabbi Yosef, marry two sisters. Rami Bar Chama over Rav Ukva Bar Chama. So if Rav Ukva Bar Chama married Rami Bar Chama's wife's sister, so who was Rav Ukva's shver? Rav Chizda. They purchased a slave together. One used them the first, third, and fifth year. The other one had her for the second, fourth, and sixth. Somebody said, "No, I never sold you this shivcha." They went to the future brother-in-law. Let me explain to you why you split it up 1, 3, 5. Why do you do it like that? So one shouldn't make a chazaka without the other one. So you don't want to make a chazaka, one and the other. You try to prevent chazakas. So mainly you can't come together and combine your years together and say, "Oh, we did a chazaka of 6 years, and therefore you don't have a year." I'll say it very quick because we're very late. How is it possible that Rami Bar Chama was choshed his brother Rav Ukva, two tremendous Amoraim? He's going to chop the slave away from me. Oh, so I better do a trick and do 1, 3, 5. You're talking about Rami Bar Chama here. The son-in-law of Rav Chizda. Says Reb Chaim Shmulevitz. Of course he wasn't choshed his brother. But when you have an asayid in front of you, a potential problem, you run like you run from a fire. He was choshed himself, not his brother. Maybe I will be nichshal. And anytime you have such a thing, even though you're a big tzaddik and that, you run. You always run. Never put yourself in a matzah of an asayid. It's only because they didn't put a star that divides the field. If there's a dividing star, everybody knows that you divided the field. Let's just go to the next story, like 7 lines down. If what? Yeah, you had a field. Here's the field. You had a whole field. Yeah? And you did a chazak on everything besides this part of it, 1/4 of it. You have a chazak on everything besides that corner. It's only because you're able to plant over there. If you can't plant there, no, then the chazak is on the entire thing. Why? Because you didn't have a choice. As the Gemara, you did have a choice. What if you have a piece of property that's a stone? So how do you do it? You do this. Look at this. You have to put cows on it. You have to lay out the fruit. Don't tell me you're going to be kind of agav because you did chazak in the rest. You have to make a special chazak in that piece by putting something in it. Rabbi Yosef, have a wonderful day.